everyone, it's Alyce, and I'm here today to unhaul over 100 books for you. So this year I promised that I was going to haul less books, and I said that I would try to unhaul more books than I hauled every single month. So I had a week off in the middle of February and we went charity shopping quite a few times, so we've actually acquired a few books this month. Our haul will be coming either next week or the week after, so make sure to check back for that if you're interested to see which books we've acquired this month. But it does mean that we had to get a lot of them shifted to get them out of the house so that we were still in ratio, I guess is the best way to say it. So I've actually done something a little bit sneaky. The first 85 books that I'm unhauling today will not actually be donated. I'm giving them to my mum, which means I will be able to borrow them if I need to, but she is the owner of them now. Because mum reads a lot more crime and thrillers than I do. I've always wanted to read more crime, but it's just never what I'm drawn to. And recently I've been looking at the shelves and thinking, am I ever going to actually read any of these? And thinking about getting rid of them. And when I mentioned to mum that I was thinking of getting rid of them, she said that she was still interested in reading a lot of these because she might have books in the series that she's picked up in the charity shops and I've just got the earlier ones, or the other way around, I've got the later ones and she's got the first few. So they're all going to her. If she's got doubles of any of them, she's going to donate them herself. And then if I want to borrow any of them, or if she reads any of them and they're awful and she wouldn't recommend them to me, then they can be donated in that instance as well. So I will show you the 85 books that are going to Mum's house first. And then I also have a second part to this unhaul video, of which I'm going to be unhauling a bunch of books that I just don't want anymore. And I'm not quite sure how many there are, but I'm pretty sure it's more than 15, which is why we're going with over 100 to start with, but I'll figure out the exact number by the end of the video. So, without further ado, let us jump in and see what the heck I am sending to my mother's house. Most of these are going to be parts of series, but they're going to be in no particular order because there is no point in me organising them into the order of the series because they're just going to be packed back into carrier bags again before we take them over. But I have separated them all out by author, so all of the author's books will be together, but they will not be in the right order. So we'll start off with Patricia Cornwell. So we're getting rid of Black Notice, Point of Origin, Unnatural Exposure, Cause of Death, Chaos, Depraved Heart, Hornet's Nest, The Front, At Risk, Predator, The Last Precinct, Trace, All That Remains, Cruel and Unusual, Postmortem, The Body Farm, and From Potter's Field. So I've read the first 5 or 6 in this series and I just grabbed the rest when I spotted them in charity shops. I reread Postmortem on the channel probably in 2020 and I was planning on rereading the rest of the series, but then I realised that Mum actually has our copy of Body of Evidence, so I never bothered borrowing it from her, and I've just had all of the other ones still here and not actually reread the rest of the series. Eventually I would like to catch up on these because the new book, which is called Autopsy, has just been released. But there's like 26 of these and I got bored after 4 or 5 and thought I'd carry on eventually and still haven't. So whether I will or not remains to be seen, but hopefully Mum will enjoy these because I know she really liked Patricia Cornwell's book about Jack the Ripper, which I think was called Portrait of a Killer. But yeah, that's a non-fiction one, these are fiction, but hopefully she'll enjoy them. We then have PJ Tracy with Snowblind, Want to Play, and Dead Run. The covers of these are what attracted me. I like the fact that they all look like they're written in kind of blood and melty letters. They're all pretty short and sound interesting. I just haven't had a chance to get to them yet. Same rules apply with Alex Carver, with Split Second, A Perfect Evil, and Whitewash. I already have a bunch of these at Mum's house. I know that they're her ones that she's found in like supermarkets and stuff. I'm not sure whether she's read any of them yet. I know I haven't read any of these. I know that I'm still interested in them. I know that I mostly bought them because I liked the designs, which is not a great reason to buy a crime book apparently because I don't actually pick up any of the ones that I buy for that reason. I've also got 4 books by Erica Spindler, which are Cause for Alarm, Bone Cold, All Fall Down, and Bloodvines. Again, I have a feeling these were on sale in Co-op and Grandad used to buy me one each week that we went there just to keep me occupied. And I'm pretty sure I've read at least some of them. I just don't remember. And this one's got like really bad staining on it, so might have to unhaul that one after all, because that's not tasty. Where's that come from? Oh. We've also got 3 books by Karen Rose, which is Have You Seen Her, Die For Me and Did You Miss Me. Again, there was already a few of these at Mum's house. I honestly, I was just going to unhaul these, but Mum said she was still interested in them. They're just so bloody big for crime books. Like, Die For Me is like over 600 pages, nearly 700 pages. It is 695 pages, and it has like sequels that are equally as big. And I just don't think it's ever necessary for a crime novel to be that long. It also doesn't help that the only Karen Rose book that I've read so far, each of her chapters is dated, so it's the day, the date, the time. And the amount of ones that I've read where it's like it's been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but like the numbers have carried on going up. Like, come on, that's proofreaders. Proofreaders are meant to like help with that. So I'm kind of putting it off just in case of that because it would really, really annoy me. I've got a Mark Billingham stack, which includes Buried, Lifeless, Scaredy Cat, Sleepyhead, Death Message, and Lazy Bones and the Burning Girl in a bind up. Again, bought most of these from Co-op when I used to go shopping with Grandad because they were only like £2. I read half of Sleepyhead and it really freaked me out. I planned on finishing it eventually and reading the rest of them. I still haven't done that, and I own basically all of his books. I just really, really loved the TV show adaptation with David Morrissey, and so I thought, yeah, I'll definitely love the books, and I might when I actually read them. But this is why my crime novel's being given to Mum, because she probably will actually read them. Notice how I said probably, because she is just as bad as me. I've got 3 books here that I've actually read and I absolutely love, but I just haven't had time to reread them, and I keep saying I'm going to reread them and I'm not doing it, and I'm not compelled to pick them up very quickly, so they can go to Mum's, and then if she thinks about getting rid of them, I'll just suck them back into our house. And those are Retribution, Last Witness, and Plea of Insanity by Jillian Hoffman. One of my favourite authors, some of the best crime novels that I've ever read, but as I said, not going to have time to reread them anytime soon, so they can go to Mum for now. We have a big old Karen Slaughter stack, which includes The Silent Wife, Blindsighted, Skin Privilege, Triptych, Faithless, Indelible, and Kiss Cat. Again, I read the first one, absolutely loved it, managed to get the rest at either supermarkets or charity shops throughout the years, haven't had a chance to continue on with the series. I'm really interested in doing it because I love Blindsighted, and I love the fact that she's now writing standalone thrillers because I think I will be able to get through these quicker than I could through a whole series, but I still haven't prioritised them, so I think Mum probably will. We've then got a big old Kathy Wright stack, which is probably our biggest stack so far, which includes Bones to Ashes, Deja Dead, Bare Bones, Monday Morning, Break No Bones, Fatal Voyage, Grave Secrets, Deadly Decisions, Crossbones, Exposure, and Death du Jour. Again, loved the TV adaptation of Bones. Bought all of these planning to read them eventually, and I legitimately can't remember reading any of them. I don't think I've even started this series yet. They were all cheap. They were all acquired easily. I didn't pay full price for any of these, so I don't feel too mad at myself about it. But I know Mum had always intended to get them, and then I started getting them, and so she was like, "Oh, I'll just borrow them from you." Well, you don't have to now, Mother. They're yours. I have 4 books by John Connolly, which include The Black Angel, Every Dead Thing, Bad Men, and Dark Hollow. I also have The Wolf in Winter somewhere, but I have not put this into this stack because I can't remember where I've actually put it on my bookshelf. But these are all part of the Charlie Parker series. I've read the first one. I absolutely loved it. Have I carried on with the rest? No, I haven't, because I don't prioritise doing that with really long crime series. I just buy them and feel sad about not reading them. But I definitely recommend these to Mum, so that hopefully she'll get some of it. I have Sue Grafton's A is for Alibi. Mum has most of the rest of the alphabet. I just have the first one. So, what were we thinking? I should have given her these years ago when I first moved out, but it's happening now. We also have Jeffrey Deaver's The Never Game and The Stone Monkey, and again, part of the Lincoln Rhyme series. Mum has most of them. I have this odd one that I found in a free book phone box, I think. And then I got this one for 49p, and I think it's a standalone or part of a new series. But she can read these, let me know if she recommends them, then I might borrow them back. We got 2 books by Tim Weaver, which were You Were Gone and Chasing the Dead. I got both of these free in a free... Oh no, apparently I bought this one for 50p. That's a lie. I thought this was in the free bookshop. this was in the free bookshop, definitely. I was planning on reading them. I haven't read them. I would like to read them, but I think they're part of a longer series, and I haven't got any of the others. So, this is actually the first one. No, they can still both go to Mum's because I've had that since before Sophia was born, so at least 4 years, and I still haven't read it. So, well, still send them, but I'm more tempted by those now. I shouldn't have done this. We have 4 books that I think Mum will definitely end up unhauling because they're from her favourite author, and those are Life of Crime, Tainted Love, Billy Joe, and The Feud by Kimberly Chambers. Mum keeps recommending Kimberly Chambers' work to me. I've got Backstabber that I'm keeping here because it's the first one in a series and it's a signed copy because we met her. And I don't know if Mum has these in hardback, so she might want to keep the hardbacks and upgrade her copies. I don't know if she's got this fancy red cover of this. But my colleague was getting rid of these, so I said, yeah, I'd have them because Mum kept recommending them, and I still haven't picked them up even though they're sat on the shelf staring at me. So I'm really sorry, Mum. Apparently I just don't trust your recommendations, so I hope you trust mine, and why am I giving you all these? I've also got 2 Martina Coyle books, which are No Mercy and Betrayal. I've heard that she's quite similar to Kimberly Chambers, so definitely voicing these off on Mum because I think she'll love them. And then we have a stack of various authors that we've only got 1 or 2 books by. So those include Tess Garrison with The Killing Place, My Husband's Wife by Jane Corrie, Written in Blood by Chris Carter, another one of Mum's favourite authors. I only own this one, and I know she's got this one signed, so she might not read the signed copy because it's fancy schmancy, so she might read this beaten up paperback copy instead. The White Devil by Dominic Stansbury, The Suspect by Michael Robotham, Last Breath in 18 Seconds by George D. Schumann, which sounds really interesting because it's about a blind detective. So I'm definitely going to end up reading those, I just haven't yet. Never Saw It Coming by Linwood Barclay, The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. I've read this one a couple of times, don't think I'll reread it. Mum might enjoy it, where it's just a short story, but I don't know if it's going to be her kind of thing, so I think she might end up getting rid of that one. My Husband's Lines by Carolyn England. The Neighbour by Lisa Gardner, which is another author that Mum owns a lot of her books, and I've got just this odd one, so she can have it. The Sudden Departure of the Frasers by Louise Candlish, which I won on Goodreads when I literally first started blogging, and Mum was really interested in it then, and I never read it, so I should have just given it to her back then, but I hope she'll read it now. The Darkness Within by Lisa Stone. After the Crash by Michelle Bussey, which is actually a proof that I found in a charity shop, and if Mum thinks about getting rid of this one, I'll just take it back because I like this more than the original cover because the original cover is black and red, and I just really like the blue on the dragonfly. But I'm just not sure whether I'm going to enjoy it or not. It sounds a bit literary for a crime novel, if that makes sense. But yeah, it sounds interesting though. And last but not least, going to Mum's house, we have The Marsh King's Daughter by Karen Dion and The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney, which has actually recently been adapted into a series for, I think, Amazon Prime. So I may need to borrow this back if we decide to watch that. But again, it's one that we've had for absolute years. Neither Sean nor I are really compelled by picking it up. Sean's really not in a thriller mood at the moment. Every thriller I read disappoints me. So off they go, and then hopefully I'll read them eventually and love them if I borrow them back. So those are 85 books that are being unhauled and going to my mother's house, and now let me go upstairs and get the other books that I'm unhauling today, and these are the ones that are just trash or I'm not interested in anymore, and they can just yeet on out to the charity shop. So I've just gathered the rest of the books that I'm unhauling, and there's another 24 of them, so that means that there's 109 books being unhauled in this video in total. So I was right, it is over 100, that's good. Some of these you may have seen before because I was storing these in a bag to do like a big unhaul, and then Sean moved the bag and I lost it. So I've mentioned some of these in videos before saying that I was probably going to unhaul them, but that was about a year ago. And they're still in my house. So now they're actually going to go because as soon as I finish doing this video, I'm going to put them in a bag and then we're going to take them to the charity shop on Monday because they are closed now because it is Saturday evening. But we will get all of these gone and they will actually leave the house instead of just saying that they're going to. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to the other 24 books that are going today. First up, we have Good Girl Bad Blood by Holly Jackson because this is a duplicate copy. I won a competition where I got a copy of all of the books on the Way Book Prize shortlist, and I had already bought this one and owned it, so this is being unhauled and going off to a better home. And for the same reason, I'm unhauling The Great Garden by Meg Rossoff because I absolutely hated this one. It was on the YA Book Prize, it was the worst book on the shortlist, and I don't want it in my house. I have The Real Mrs. Brown by Brendan O'Carroll, which I got for my granddad. I think it was either in the free book box or it was on a jumble trail, quite cheap. But it turns out he already has it, so I don't need a copy of this myself because I'm not a huge fan of Mrs. Brown, so off this goes. Controversially, I'm Unhauling Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. I loved this when I was younger. I read it either 3 or 4 times. I don't know what it was about it, but the writing style just really got me. And I read the New Hunger, and I didn't hate it. That was the prequel novella. And then I read the Burning World, which was the sequel, and I hated it. And I still haven't finished the 4th one in this series, but the second one just destroys basically all of it, and it tries to turn it into something it isn't. So I wish this had just stayed as on book. But it's ruined my memories of this one, and I'm not going to want to read it again. I'm also unhauling my American hardcover of Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I found this in a charity shop, was planning on eventually getting the other books in this style, but let's be honest, I've owned this for probably 6 years. I still haven't got Mockingjay or The Hunger Games in this style. I have no inclination to because I still haven't even read them. So I might as well just keep my bitch ass standard black paperbacks because I might not even like them. If I do end up loving them, I can always buy myself some special editions or something because there's bound to be a special edition set of these somewhere. It's just because it's like this kind of shimmery foil on the cover that I really liked. But there's no point in just having the second book in a series that I haven't read. I'm also unhauling The Man in the Picture by Susan Hill. I hated The Woman in Black. I hated Dolly. I'm not going to read this. I also have My Pregnancy 2018 because number 1, I'm not pregnant. Number 2, it's not 2018 anymore. And number 3, the only time I actually read this was reading all of the like panicky bits about giving birth and just crying uncontrollably. So this was not healthy for my brain, and I don't want to revisit this. If I decide to have another child, then I'll just birth it, because that's pretty much what I did the first 2 times. I have The Lovers by Rod Norland. It sounds interesting because it's about 2 people who are on the run, they're in love, and it's, I want to say it's Afghanistan, so they're not allowed to be in love. Love and Vengeance in Afghanistan, a true story. It sounds interesting, it sounds sad. It doesn't really sound like my cup of tea because I don't really read books based on true stories or anything like this. I just liked the cover when I bought it. I have Blight by Alexandra Duncan. I've been holding on to this because it's a proof copy and I think it has a really cool cover, but I'll be honest, I didn't love it that much. I think I gave it 3 stars. I will not reread it. It has some cool like chapter headers of plants, like little illustrations of plants on the chapter headers, and those are really beautiful, but I could just buy a plant guide for pretty plant illustrations. I also have the Aptamil Newborn Mum book. This is about what to do when you first have a baby, and I have 2 toddlers now, so I don't need baby advice. I have Flawed by Cecilia Ahern. This was one of the first Owlpate books that I got, and I'd already read Flawed when it arrived, and I hated it. I've read the sequel, and I hated that too. They didn't do the sequel. I have no interest in getting the sequel. I have no interest in owning the first one. I might sell this on because I think it's signed. Oh, no, it was that early on Owlcrate that it's not even signed. So I literally kept hold of this for legitimately no reason because I think this is just a standard American hardback. What was I thinking? I'll Google it in case I've got a book plate for it somewhere that I've just forgotten about. But yeah, I won't be keeping this. I have City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. This is in the funky new UK paperback style. I really like these paperbacks, but I have the set of 6 that lines up on the spine and has the picture, and I like those more. And I only grabbed this one because I saw it in a charity shop for £1.50, and I was thinking I might see the other ones, but I haven't seen any of them. It's been nearly a year since I picked this up, and even though the illustrations on the cover are like absolutely stunning, I'm not a huge fan of this series. I'm not a big enough fan to have like multiple copies. I want to keep my paperbacks with the people on the spines because I've wanted those for ages. When I found those in the charity shop, I was so excited. But yeah, I'm just not going to keep this one, even though it is beautiful. And if I didn't have those ones, I would collect this set instead. But I'm already attached to those ones. I've also got Fateful by Claudia Gray, which I'm officially DNFing and unhauling. I was meant to read this as one of my punishment picks last year, and it nearly set off a reading slump. I read a chapter, and I could not get any further, and I've still got it on my currently reading on Goodreads because I thought I would finish it eventually, but I don't want to. Werewolves plus the Titanic equals bleh. I'm not interested. Some of these books were featured in my read the first chapter and then unhaul video. I think it was these 3, but I'm sorry if I'm lying. Not That Kind of Girl by Siobhan Vivian, Too Far by Jason Starr, and Texas Gothic by Rosemary Clement Moore. I read the first page or the first chapter of a book and then decided whether to unhaul it or not based off of that. I think these two definitely, Texas Gothic and Too Far definitely were in that. I think the Siobhan Vivian one was as well. But I'm just not interested in reading any of these. And in fact, I don't like Siobhan Vivian's writing style, so I will be unhauling all of the books that I have of hers if I can find the rest of them, because I have a few. I have the list and another one that I can't remember the name of. Same difference upstairs as well, so I can get rid of those. But those will be for next month's unhaul. I have It's About Love by Steve Camden. Kept this because it was a cool proof copy, but I didn't really like the story that much, and I've already forgotten basically everything about it. When we read it, it can go. Love Reborn by Yvonne Woon. I read half of the first book and I hated it so much that I DNF'd it and I'd already unhauled it, and then I realised I still have the sequel on my shelf, so off she goes. Especially because I think this is the third one. I don't even think this is the second one. I think I literally didn't have the second one, I just had the first and the third. Oh, it doesn't even say in the book. Oh yeah, the exciting third book. Definitely going. We have Vivian versus the Apocalypse by Katie Coyle. I was interested in this. It's a... Why can I never remember what that's called? Rapture story. She's one of the people that's left behind, and I'm not really interested. I've said this before, I'll say it again. If I want to read a Rapture book, I'll read The Leftovers, because I've got that and I haven't read it yet, and I've heard really great things about that, and I haven't heard great things about this one. I also have The Water Gone by Louise Soraya Black. This was a proof that was kindly sent to me by Muswell Press, and I did enjoy it a fair amount. I just wouldn't reread it, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be. So I think I ended up giving it 3 stars, so I don't need it on my shelf. I have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I was one of those people that hated this book, and I could rant about it for hours, and I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to, but I did not enjoy it. And I know Sean hated this book, so there's no point in us having a copy in our house because we both hate it. And last but not least, another series that I absolutely hated, and that is the Matched Trilogy by Ali Condé. I've done a rant review of this series, so if you haven't seen that yet, you should definitely check it out. But this is Matched, Crossed, and Reached. First book's okay. Second book is like the most trash of trash, and the third book's like meh, like worse than the first one, but better than the second one. But it's overall, I think the highest I rated any of these was 3 stars, so they don't need to be in my house, especially because they don't even match in heights, and it annoys me. This is the only problem with buying books in charity shops, that they don't match in the heights. So those were 109 books that I'm unhauling. I know I'm technically cheating on 85 of them because they are going to Mum's house and she lives so close that we go over a couple times a week, so technically it's like I'm just storing them there. But they're no longer in our house, and I'm no longer counting myself as owning those books, so it's fine. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you'd like to subscribe, we'd be super duper grateful. We post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so come back in a couple of days and we'll have another video ready for you. And let me know if you think that I'm going to regret unhauling any of these books, or if there's any of the crime books that you would recommend me picking up because you think that I'll be stealing them back off of Mum as soon as I try them, because all input is welcome. Thanks for watching. Bye! A child's toy is singing to me. Don't play with crime books and have creepy children's toys singing at you. Spooky. It's not you. It's the cement mixer. Where is he? Oh, here he is. He's off. We are less haunted by children's toys now. We will continue. I'm looking mistakes. And that didn't happen. So the rest of the books have been gathered, and there are another 24 of them. Oh, and apparently my throat is completely dry from running up and downstairs with all of these. But there's another 24 books that I'm getting rid of, which does mean that it is over 100. There is 109 videos. 109 videos. Try that again.